mynews.studio.
At the very tip of South America, there are ancient forests once heavily impacted by whaling, and now there's talk of a new park at the so-called end of the world. Could this place actually shift how we think about conservation?
Today's date is January 15th, 2026. And this new park, Chile's Cape Froward National Park, isn't just notable for its size, which is up to 300,000 hectares. It's about what it stands for. Let me ask, what makes the Brunswick Peninsula so important?
We're talking about the southernmost tip of mainland South America. The area has subantarctic forests, unique peatlands, and kelp forests, ecosystems you really can't find anywhere else. It's home to endangered species like the huemul deer and the southernmost conifer on Earth. But for many years, these habitats faced damage from whaling, logging, and fishing. Then, in 2021, Rewilding Chile, with funding from Tompkins Conservation and some major philanthropists, intervened. Since then, they've bought and donated over 127,000 hectares to the Chilean state.
That's a massive area. But it feels like the scale isn't the only thing that matters. The real turning point was the agreement signed in 2024. Can you unpack how that came together?
Right. So in March 2024, leaders from Rewilding Chile, Christine Tompkins and Carolina Morgado, signed a protocol with the Chilean government. This agreement merged the donated lands with reclassified public areas, like Cape Froward and Bachelor River. The result is a continuous protected corridor. The park, which could be between 150,000 and 300,000 hectares, is on the scale of places like Grand Teton in the U.S., and it links up with a 2,800-kilometer wildlife corridor across Patagonia. It's a huge step for biodiversity. Where there was once a whaling base, you now have a refuge for species like humpback whales, Magellanic penguins, dolphins, and those ancient forests.
You mentioned restoration work. What does that actually look like, day to day?
On the ground, it means restoring forests and peatlands, both of which are important for storing carbon. Teams are replanting native species, working to recover marine areas, and keeping an eye on wildlife. The University of Magallanes and CONAF are involved too. They're using camera traps to monitor the huemul, mapping carbon in peatlands, and organizing expeditions to track marine mammals.
And for the people living there, especially the indigenous Kawaiskar, how are they affected?
That's actually central to the whole process. The law requires a full consultation with the Kawaiskar, who have ancestral ties to this land, before the park becomes official. Their heritage sites are being mapped and protected. Rewilding Chile and Tompkins Conservation have included them in the planning from the start. The president, Gabriel Boric, has also called for governance models that give these communities a real voice, especially in the nearby marine zones. And there are new jobs in guiding, restoration, and tourism, which are helping to keep younger people in Punta Arenas and support the local economy.
So, ecotourism is already making a difference?
Yes, it is. In Punta Arenas, there's growing infrastructure for visitors. Day trips, treks to the Cruz de los Mares Cross, kayaking expeditions, which cost around $790 for a 3 to 4 day trip, and whale-watching tours. This is the first national park in the commune, and it's bringing a sense of local pride. Plus, it's creating jobs in both hospitality and restoration.
But, as with most big conservation projects, there must be challenges. What are the main obstacles here?
Enforcement is a real challenge. The area is remote, and the weather can be extremely harsh. Illegal fishing and logging are ongoing risks. So CONAF has to think about patrols and building new infrastructure. Then there's funding. Restoration work and operations are expensive. Philanthropist networks like Tompkins Conservation, the WIS Foundation, Patagonia Inc., and the Drake Foundation are providing support. But the park will need steady tourism revenue and probably new funding sources. And monitoring is an ongoing process. There's still not enough baseline data, so teams are working to gather more, especially about how climate change is affecting peatlands and marine ecosystems.
Does this example have lessons for other countries? I mean, is this a model others can use?
It really is. This approach, public-private conservation, combining government support, private land donations, and including the community, sets out a blueprint. Chile wants to protect 30% of its land and ocean by 2030, and this park is a big part of that. The way they've included indigenous voices, restored ecosystems, and created jobs. These are steps other places facing biodiversity loss could adapt.
So, a former whaling base is turning into a kind of case study for rewilding. The stakes are high. Not just wildlife, but climate, culture, and local livelihoods.
Exactly. It's a transformation based on partnership, and it's showing that even at the end of the world there are ways forward for conservation.
From ancient forests and peat bogs to wildlife corridors and cultural heritage, Cape Froward National Park brings together science, community, and global ambition.
Thanks for listening. This episode is brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now at no cost.